This is an amendum to my last video, When Did Richard Gibson Start Working for the CIA? There were more files, of course, that I wasn't aware of or didn't include in the video for reasons of forgetfulness or whatever. But so I have to make an amendment to that video. I think my main idea is still correct. That is that the CIA didn't hire Gibson until after the assassination, and they hired him because of the intercepted telephone call, but I said some things in there that were incorrect, so they must be corrected. And here is my summary of what I said, reviewing the CIA interest in Gibson prior to the assassination and his interest in them, and then ending in red there with the intercepted phone call. And I said that after that there was no more activity on the subject of Gibson until the FBI was told by the CIA that the CIA had hired him. That is incorrect. There are more files in between the intercepted phone call and 1965, and I will have to deal with them here. And there is a 1964 file, June 17th, 1964. This is the CIA to the FBI, if I've got that right. Captioned matter was discussed with Mr. Laughlin Campbell, Chief CIA Paris, and his assistant Darwin Curtis on 6/3/64. Assistant Legate Richard E. Potocki discussed the case with Redacted of CIA on 6/10/64. These individuals advised that so far as they know, Gibson is still employed by the magazine Revolution, which now has its headquarters in Paris. They stated that they have not made contact with him, although they have not abandoned the possibility of developing him as a source. Redacted, who is handling instant matter for CIA Paris, stated he would keep this office advised. We will continue to follow and keep the Bureau advised. It sounds to me, if they're going to continue to follow and keep people advised, that they have a great interest in Gibson. But here they're saying that they have not contacted him since he was interviewed after the assassination. So that file fills the gap here after November 23rd. In 1964 there is an FBI communication to the a CIA communication to the FBI which denies that they have hired him yet. I still think they had come to some kind of an agreement with him, but they say they haven't hired him yet, and that they haven't even contacted him. And then there's this document from 1965, which is, it says Part 2 here of operational information, but according to the files available to me, this is the beginning of his personnel file with the CIA, that is Gibson's personnel file. And here it says, in response to headquarters requests, London Station Officer George H. Katzenbach contacted subject in London in mid-January 1965 for the purpose of debriefing him on his experiences in the Redacted, and Redacted, up to the time of his departure from the staff of Redacted in spring of 1964. This was followed up by in-depth debriefing sessions carried out by Katzenbach in a PB Swing conference room on 17, 18, 19, and 23 February 1965. On the basis of these talks, it was decided to recruit subject for a test assignment in Algiers during the summer of 1965, during which time he would attempt to build Redacted, and was dispatched to London, yada yada. So here, in the personnel file, they're admitting to talking to him in February of 1965, and they say they decided to hire him in the summer of 1965. And later on in the personnel file, we see this reference to the interview after the telephone call, the assassination. In December 1963, subject was interviewed by a consulate officer in Paris for information on Lee Harvey Oswald, who reportedly had some contact with the redacted, and this must be fair play for Cuba Committee. I don't know why they would redact that, but that must be what it is. Subject was completely cooperative, and the interviewer suggested follow-up, but the contact was dropped. So here they're saying explicitly that they stopped talking to him after he gave them information on the assassination, if you can believe that. And here further on in the personnel file, it says subject has contract for 1 June-September 1965, providing for salary of $500 per month, non-accountable expenses of $100 per month, and per diem computed at the rate of $20 for 4 days spent traveling to and from Algiers, and $10 period residence in Algiers. This is to be renegotiated September 1st for extension, 2 years with 30. So they've got a contract with him in June of 1965. However, if you look at what they report themselves as payments to Gibson, according to this, they started paying him in January of 1965. And there are 4 payments on here which predate his contract. So prior to their contracting him to work for them, they're paying him money for something. Ostensibly, I guess it's debriefing, but they're still paying him money. So in my view, he's working for them before he was contracted, and according to this, he's working for them in January of 1965. And of course, I suspect that he was working for them in 1964 as well, even if I can't prove that by their documents. So my summary here has to be updated and corrected or amended with this additional information. And here I have done that. In 1964, June 17th, CIA still thinking about Gibson, but they say they have no contact with him. And then in January 25th, 1965, the CIA pays Gibson $300. February 23rd, the CIA pays Gibson $400. Sometime in April, the CIA pays Gibson $400. And in May, the CIA pays Gibson another $400. And then, according to the documents, the contract they sign with him goes into effect June 1st. And then on June 2nd, the CIA pays Gibson $100 signing bonus. And then on June 3rd, they give him another $500, beginning his regular salary. But going back to January, essentially they're paying him $400 a month already before he signs his contract. And then on November 15th, the CIA informs the FBI. Actually, I think that's the date of the document. They had informed them and thinking in a little earlier than that. But anyway, that doesn't fit as nicely with my interpretation. But I still think my interpretation is correct. I think the intercepted phone call of November 23rd is what caused the CIA to decide that they needed to have a relationship with Gibson. And I don't think this contradicts that, really. It's just that it looks like they're being discreet in their timing when they start to contract with him. If he suddenly started working for the CIA, quit his job with the magazine Revolution and all that, then of course that would look a little funny. So I think they probably stretched it out so that it wouldn't look so suspicious in real time and in the official record. So that's my amendum.